Hi, I'm Peter Haddock, and welcome to another edition of my podcast with Insight series. This series is sponsored by my friends at Ritchie Brothers, the used equipment specialist. You can buy with Ritchie Brothers, you can sell with Ritchie Brothers, and you can even sell to Ritchie Brothers. They just want to do business with you. And you can find out how to do that at rbauction.co.uk. But today is all about being visual, folks. And I found Evercam construction cameras on LinkedIn the other day. And I've got Vinnie Quinn, the co-founder of Evercam construction cameras, on the podcast today, because what they're doing is what I really love. And that is taking monitoring and visualization of the construction site to the next level. Vinnie, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Peter.
So, Vinnie, Evercam construction cameras, I've seen what you're doing. Basically, it's live feed cameras recording what's going on site, time lapse, video recordings, live views, but with a difference. We've seen that kind of thing before, but we've now got computer aided support for that kind of visualization. So tell me about some of the really exciting features I've seen out there, which you can help the industry monitor things completely differently and integrate the whole lot. Tell me all about it, Vinnie.
Great. Wow, that's quite an introduction. Thank you very much, Peter. I better start at the beginning. And to give you a bit of background, myself and my business partner, Marco, started working with cameras 10 years ago, and we were building APIs. We were working with all sorts of different cameras. We were solving problems for all sorts of different industries. And after a few years, it became clear that the most exciting problems we were solving were for the construction industry. That, like, CCTV was one area, and security, and did things get stolen and all the rest. That's all interesting. But what we found from building software for cameras was when you deal with construction, it is visual. It's really visual. From where people put their site offices, they want a window that shows the whole site. And we're giving them a window that also has rewind to day one and query what you saw and ask questions based on what the camera could see. So it's just been a really exciting journey for us to get into construction. And it started with really just recording everything and realizing that we could solve a lot of problems based purely on sharing the right image with the right person at the right time. And a lovely phrase that we use a lot in the company here is the greatest problem with communication is the illusion that it has taken place. And when you're communicating with people on a construction site and you include an image with a box around it that says, we can't use this gate after 3 o'clock, or if you drop the steel there, we can't turn a truck around anymore. Next person who does that is in trouble and is paying for the delay. When you communicate like that, people react and you leave a record and there's no room for any ambiguity. So we really enjoyed building those tools, and those tools led us to ask our customers, well, what are you using it for? And for us to start building a team of artificial intelligence developers to say, well, can we automate that? Can we turn that image into data? And that's where it gets exciting.
It is. And what I really liked is the fact that, I do a lot of work in the construction sector and a lot of work with plant and construction. And what I liked to see is the way in which you've used camera technology to actually identify different parts of the construction site and identify different bits of equipment, from the operative on site to the cement truck, to the excavator, to the ADT, and how you've actually taken that technology and said, well, actually, we can look at vehicle movements, we can look at activities, we can look to see whether things are even being loaded properly and whether you're getting part loads coming in and out, or whether you've got a problem, which a lot of construction sites have, with idle time. So, there it is. Physically, we can see the excavator not doing anything. Why? Because you've got no trucks for it to load. Or why do we see the trucks all idling in a big line? Because there's too many of them to load with one excavator. So it's not just around where you started there with the security elements you can see. It's actually around how you can change the work site and how you can visually show people what things need to be done at any given time. And the great thing for me is showing people in real time, because if you say something to someone, oh, last week, look at how many trucks you had lined up, and that excavator couldn't fill them. Well, that time has gone, hasn't it? So tell me about how people are using and utilizing the system, and how you can get that information to the right people.
You've just described it really well there yourself. It's exactly that. It's getting the right image to the right person at the right time. It's telling a story, and it's getting to the bottom of a dispute, or preventing a dispute, or preventing a delay. So it's exactly like you described there. You know, if you have a big concrete pour planned and you need to get 25 trucks a day in to make that work, and you're in a busy city center site, then you need to make sure that you're getting them in, as many as your traffic plan is going to allow, and you need to make sure that they can all get in and out as quickly as possible. So all of these jobs are repetition. You're going to be doing that every day or every Saturday or whenever you're allowed, and anything you can learn that saves you a few minutes. And it might be just rearranging things so that more trucks can come in, or trucks can turn around a bit faster. And it might also be just planning the traffic plan so that they don't have to wait outside blocking the traffic and annoying the neighbors. And it might also be giving the suppliers a button on their phone that shows them the queue, or shows them the area that they're going to be driving into. And it just empowers people when they have the image, but it also leaves nothing to chance. There's no like he said, she said about how many loads came in. And there's no like, you know, you sometimes get a gate report where there's a discrepancy between the gate tickets and the numbers. It's like, okay, show me, here's a button. It shows every single truck that came through. You can click on it to watch it coming in and out. You can zoom in, you do everything. You can tie it in with your ANPR. And it's just really interesting, because now there is a record of everything that happens. And if you're due to take 60 loads out of a site every day in order to complete an excavation on time, if that number of trucks hasn't come out, you're not going to be finished on time, no matter what you do. So it's about planning and being able to anticipate any problems and having the visuals to foresee a delay. You can get all the graphs in the world, but sometimes you need the human who has experience of having done this 20 times before, and he's the one who looks at the camera at the amount of time it takes those trucks and says, right, here's our problem. We need to move that gate over a bit, or we need to, you know, allow 2 trucks to pass each other out at a different part of the site because they'll do it faster. You know, it's stuff that I won't know, but it's stuff that we empower the customer to know by showing them the data and showing them, okay, well, here's the pattern. Everything's going much slower in the afternoon than it is in the morning. What's different on your site? Okay, yeah, we changed crane drivers. We're not unloading the flatbeds as quickly, or we're doing another job simultaneously that's slowing us down. And it allows them to just change their schedules to maximize their time availability.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting about that as well is, for me, when you're looking at a site, things change dramatically because construction is generally outside. So you can go from a really sunny morning in the morning to downpours and snow and wind and rain coming down in the afternoon, for example. So you go from one site that's running really smoothly to something else happening, like a haul road getting bogged down, for example, or a machine getting into trouble. And so with that, that changes the whole element of the site. So what you are able to do is say, actually, let's put more trucks on, or let's take more trucks off, or let's actually get in touch with the drivers, or actually look at the dangers that are there visually about, you know, pieces of equipment or people in their trucks or whatever sliding around on a slippy surface, which could cause, you know, the ultimate issue on site, which is a health and safety issue, which could ultimately injure someone, or worse still, have a fatality. So it really is about showing that the visual context. So tell me, if something happens, or how you program something so then it pings out at me. So, you know, I've got this great big site. I'm looking at, you know, the example that we've just said. We're getting loads of traffic issues, or we've got a problem on site with the way in which it's working. What happens?
Okay, I'll give you an example we're working on at the moment, which is on a large road construction site where there is there's an area where all of the goods are coming in and out, and all of the trucks need to be unloaded, and they all need to go through the weighbridge, be unloaded, leave again, and it's basically the depot for the whole site. And what we've set up for them is, it doesn't just count the trucks, it counts the trucks, and it counts the trucks at different stages of in the gate, onto the weighbridge, unloads, leaves again.
Right.
And that's all fine, because that's data that, you know, the weighbridge has software attached to it. There is, you know, you can have ANPR on the weighbridge, no problem. What our system does is it tracks all of that, but we've taught it to say, what about the trucks that come in, don't use the weighbridge, go over and drop a load, and then leave again. They're the ones we care about because they're the ones who are potentially not getting on the invoice. So